I was in a video conference with Tokyo investors when my phone buzzed. Security alert. Two people had entered the building lobby without clearance and were attempting to access the fourth floor. I pulled up my security camera app on my second monitor. The lobby camera showed my parents and sister arguing with the doorman. "We don't need permission," my mother's voice came through clearly. "We're here to see our daughter Emily Chan. Unit 4B. She lives here." I muted my microphone briefly. I hadn't seen my family in 8 months, not since my sister's wedding, where my mother had introduced me to guests as our daughter who's still figuring things out, while introducing my sister as our successful event planner. The doorman remained professional. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I need to verify with the resident before I can allow access." "This is ridiculous," my father snapped. "She's our daughter. We're family." I watched them on the screen, already knowing how this would play out in what my family believed. I lived in Unit 4B, a modest one-bedroom. They thought I paid $2,200 a month in rent. They thought I worked as a marketing consultant. They thought I was still trying to find my path. The truth was that I owned the entire building, all 32 units. I had bought it 3 years earlier for $47 million through my company, Apex Property Holdings. Unit 4B was my official address on paper, but I lived in the penthouse, a 3,500 square foot unit I had completely renovated with floor-to-ceiling windows and a private rooftop terrace. I owned 17 buildings across Chicago. My total portfolio was valued at $620 million. I had started with one small apartment building 8 years ago, and built an empire while my family assumed I was figuring things out. I kept my success quiet because I had learned early that my family couldn't handle it. When I bought my first building at 23, my father said I was being reckless with debt. When I explained my business model, my sister said I was showing off. So I stopped explaining. On the security feed, the doorman was calling Unit 4B. No one answered. Laura Thompson, who lived there, was at work. "No one's answering," the doorman said. "I really can't let you up without verification." "Fine, we'll wait," my mother replied. "Call her cell phone." I unmuted my Tokyo call and wrapped it up. The investors committed $50 million to a new project. Excellent. After the call ended, I watched my family settle into the lobby chairs. My mother was on her phone, probably calling me. Sure enough, my phone rang. I didn't answer. She called again. I let it ring. Text. "Emily, we're at your building. The doorman won't let us up. Call him. We came all the way to see you." I didn't respond. "My sister, really, Em? You're going to make us wait in the lobby like strangers? We drove 2 hours to surprise you." I typed back, "I didn't ask you to. I didn't invite you. My sister, we're family. We don't need invitations. We wanted to see your place." They wanted to see my place, to judge, to comment. They had done it to my cousin once. My mother spending the entire visit pointing out everything that needed improvement. Me, I'm busy. You should have called first. My mother called. I answered. "Emily, what is going on? We're sitting in your lobby like criminals. You showed up unannounced." "I'm working. It's Saturday. What work could you possibly have?" "Video conference with international clients. Different time zones." "That can wait. We're your family. We were worried about you." "Worried about what?" "About how you're living. You never invite us over. We wanted to make sure you're okay." I pulled up the lobby camera again. My father was pacing. My sister was scrolling on her phone, looking annoyed. "I'm fine," I said calmly. "Then why can't we come up?" "Because you didn't ask permission. Because I don't want visitors today." "Emily, this is absurd. Just tell the doorman to let us up." "No." "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no. I don't want you here today. You should go home." My mother's voice sharpened. "We drove 2 hours. We're not leaving until we see you. Then you're going to be waiting a long time." I hung up. On the security feed, my mother was red-faced, gesturing wildly as she complained to my father. My sister looked mortified. Then something interesting happened. My father approached the doorman, pulled out his wallet, and tried to hand him money. "Just let us up to 4B, he said. "We're her parents. She's just being difficult." The doorman stepped back. "Sir, I cannot accept that. Building policy is very clear. No unauthorized visitors." This is our daughter's building. Sir, if you don't leave the lobby voluntarily, I'll have to call security. Call them. This is ridiculous. I picked up my phone and called the front desk. The doorman answered immediately. This is Ms. Chun. The people in the lobby claiming to be my family, they need to leave. They don't have permission to be here. Yes, Ms. Chun. I've been trying to handle it diplomatically, but they're refusing to leave. Call security. Have them escorted out. If they resist, call the police for trespassing. Understood. Thank you, Ms. Chun. He hung up and I watched him make the call. 2 minutes later, building security arrived, Marcus and James, both former police officers I had hired personally when I took over building management. Folks, Marcus said politely, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the building. We're not leaving, my mother said. Ma'am, the resident has requested that you leave. If you don't leave voluntarily, this becomes trespassing. Trespassing? She's our daughter. That doesn't give you legal right to remain in a private building after being asked to leave. I pulled up the building's intercom system and connected to the lobby speaker. Mom, Dad, Jessica. My voice came through clear and amplified. You need to leave. I've asked you to leave. This is your final warning. My mother looked around wildly. Emily, where are you? I'm where I've always been. What is wrong with you? We just wanted to see your apartment. No, you wanted to show up unannounced to judge how I'm living. You wanted to confirm whatever story you've told yourselves about my life. That's not true. You've done it at every event. You couldn't just be proud. You had to point out what wasn't good enough, how I wasn't measuring up to Jessica. My sister spoke up. That's not fair. Mom introduced me at your wedding as still figuring things out. Dad told his friends I was trying different things. Neither of you ever asked what I actually do. You just assumed I was struggling. Well, you live in a tiny one-bedroom, my mother said. I smiled. Marcus, James, please escort my family out. Also, show them the building directory on your way out. I think they'll find it educational. Marcus nodded and gestured toward the door. Let's go. I'm calling the police, my father threatened. Please do, I replied. I'm sure they'd love to hear about trespassing after multiple requests to leave. As Marcus and James guided them toward the exit, James pointed to the building directory by the door. A brass plaque listing all units and management information. I watched my father's eyes travel down and stop at the bottom. Building owner, Apex Property Holdings LLC, Emily Chun, managing director. His face went pale. My mother's jaw dropped. My sister stepped closer to read it again. She owns the building, my mother whispered. Yes, ma'am, James said. Miss Chun has owned this property for 3 years. Beautiful renovation on the common areas, but Unit 4B is a rental unit. Miss Chun lives in the penthouse. Their reactions. Confusion, shock, the slow realization they had been completely wrong. My father looked up at the camera. Emily, he said. Goodbye, Dad, I replied through the intercom. Marcus, James, please see them out. They didn't resist. They walked out in stunned silence. I closed the security app and stood up from my desk. Through my floor-to-ceiling penthouse windows, I could see the city below. My city, my buildings, my empire. My phone started ringing, my mother, then my father, then my sister. I blocked all 3 numbers. Then I called my building manager. Trevor, it's Emily. I need you to update security protocols. My parents, Richard and Patricia Chun, and my sister Jessica Chun, are no longer permitted in any of my properties. Add them to the no-access list across all 17 buildings. Consider it done. I made myself coffee in my chef's kitchen, then walked out to my private rooftop terrace. My phone buzzed. Jessica had emailed from her business account. The personal numbers weren't working anymore. Emily, I don't understand. Why didn't you tell us you own the building? Why did you have us thrown out? We're your family. We deserve an explanation. I started typing, then deleted it. Started again. Jessica, you don't deserve an explanation. You deserve exactly what you got, a lesson in assumptions. For 8 years I've been building a real estate empire. I own 17 buildings worth $620 million. I have 40 staff members. I manage major development projects. And not once did any of you ask what I actually do. You decided I was figuring things out and never questioned it. You showed up to judge my tiny apartment without asking if I wanted you there. You treated me like I was less because I didn't fit your definition of success. And now you're shocked. I didn't tell you because you made it clear you weren't interested. You were interested in assumptions, judgments, and comparisons. So I let you have them. The building directory was always there. You could have noticed, but you were too busy assuming to actually look. Don't contact me again. You're not welcome in my buildings. You're not welcome in my life. Emily. I hit send and deleted her contact. Then I called my property manager again. Trevor, one more thing. Send the tenant in Unit 4B, Laura Thompson, a fruit basket and a note thanking her for being an excellent tenant. Include a $200 credit on next month's rent. May I ask why? Because my family harassed the doorman trying to get into her unit. She shouldn't have to deal with that drama. Absolutely. I'll send it today. I hung up and looked out at the city again. This was my empire built from nothing, built while people doubted me, dismissed me, assumed I was failing. Emily Chan, owner of Apex Property Holdings, $620 million portfolio, 17 buildings, penthouse resident. The woman who let her family knock on the wrong door while she watched from above. The woman who owned the entire building they thought she was barely affording to rent in. The woman who had them escorted out by security and blocked from every property she owned. That was who I was. That was who I'd always been. And the people who couldn't see it no longer got access, not to my buildings, not to my life, not to my success. They had knocked on the wrong door in more ways than one. And now they knew it.